Hey everybody, Clint Wallace with Scott and Wallace. We're here with In the Office with Scott and Wallace on Tuesday. As you know, we're here every Tuesday. This is a rather strange week with the coronavirus and everything that's happening with that. Schools are closed. I imagine a lot of you are at home with your children. My children are out of school. Our office is still open. We're practicing social distancing. As you can tell, I'm here without Robert. Matt's in another office, and he's going to get to some employment law questions in just a minute. But to that, about 3 years ago, we made it where our firm was totally operational without everybody being in the office. We can do everything that we need to do without being here. We can sign clients electronically. So if you have questions, you don't have to come into the office to meet with us. We can do everything we need to do over the phone and electronically. So if you have questions, just give us a call. But today we want to ask some employment law questions because a lot of people are affected by this virus, maybe are off work and want to know what their rights are under the law. So with that, let's go talk to Matt about that, Megan.
Okay.
All right, Matt, we're more than 6 feet apart, but I wanted to throw some employment law questions. We were talking about a lot of people are going to have questions about how this virus affects them. They may be off work from their local job, wondering what are their rights? How does this impact them? And as our resident employment guru, I want to throw that question to you.
All right, so on this basic level, if an individual has been terminated from their job already, whether it be a service industry, hospitality, all the other, markets that are impacted, sections of our society that are impacted, a lot of times that happens because the employer wants the individual to have the ability to go out and file for unemployment. So if an individual, if you've already been terminated, certainly contact the state and see what availabilities you have to seek unemployment assistance from the state of Florida, from the government. For individuals who are currently employed and they're wondering how things are going to start playing out in the future, Congress has acted on that, and they've actually enacted 2 laws, emergency laws, as part of kind of dealing with the coronavirus with employees. One is the emergency paid sick leave. Essentially what they've done is said, all right, if you're an employer and an individual, you're keeping your business up and running, if an individual has either come down with COVID-19 or they have a family member close to them that has come down that they have to take care of, the employer is required to give them paid sick leave, meaning that the employer can't say, oh, you can't come to work tomorrow because you had COVID-19, I'm going to fire you. And now this goes into effect April 2nd, so it'll be looking forward after April 2nd whether that happens to you. But if you contract the virus, or an individual that relies on your support contracts the virus, and you can't work, and you're unable to telecommunicate as well, then your employer has to give you paid sick time off. Now the mechanism in place to enforce that is the Department of Labor. And the way they've written the law is that if an individual is fired by their employer because they asked to go out on paid sick leave pursuant to this act, then you can file a cause of action under the Fair Labor Standards Act. You're entitled to lost wages, liquidated damages, which is essentially a fancy term for doubling your damages, and also reinstatement to your position. Another act that we talk about all the time in here is the Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA, and I know a lot of people are probably familiar with that. Under the FMLA, it has a certain amount of employees within a certain distance. You have to work for a year and have a certain amount of hours to come within the scope of it. They've essentially amended the Family Medical Leave Act temporarily to provide coverage for individuals who even have worked at an employer for 30 days. Now, the Family Medical Leave Act also does not provide for paid leave. It's just there for job protection. Well, under the Emergency Family Medical Leave Act that instituted, you actually are entitled to pay leave. Now, it's not a full paycheck. It's about 2/3 of what you were earning, but it's the same function, it has the same parameters as the General Family Medical Leave Act. If you have a serious health condition, if it's from a COVID-19, if an individual that's responsible for caretaking comes down with COVID-19 and you can't work, then you also have the protection from the Family Medical Leave Act, even if you've only been there for a couple months. While generally you wouldn't be able to apply for the Family Medical Leave Act, you would in this situation because the only requirement now is you have worked there for 30 days instead of 12 months. So in addition to the general protections that are already out there, there's paid sick leave for employers starting April 2nd. If an employee gets diagnosed with COVID-19 or somebody that they're close to that they have to take care of comes down with it. After those 10 days of paid sick leave run out, then there's also the addition of the Family Medical Leave Act for employees who have been with their employer for longer than 30 days. And now both of these provisions apply to smaller businesses, which is companies that employ less than 500 individuals. which is is a very large number in our society. So if April 2nd comes and you're still working, but you contract COVID-19 or somebody that you're close to that you have to take care of contracts it, make sure that you know that you have additional rights under the law now based on what Congress has passed over the last few weeks. Do you have any questions? I know it's a lot to take in. So as always, especially with my segments, always very fact intensive. So please feel free to give us a call. We can speak over the phone. You don't have to come in and meet with me, and we can go over your situation and see if there's something we can do for you.
Yeah, that was like a book. That was a lot of information.
I know. Sorry, I'm throwing it in. I'm throwing it all out there.
I'm impressed. Good work. So, yeah. It's crazy time.
But again,
Lots of people joining from home.
Good. Well, things have changed, and beginning April 2nd, there are going to be additional protections in place for individuals affected by this virus. So be aware of that and give us a call if there's any confusion about that, or if you're having issues with your employer, because these new laws are there to pay you if you have to miss work because you're sick with this virus.
Sure. Perfect.
That's good stuff. And on our side of it, courts have changed the way we do things now. There's an order out. Everything that we normally do in a courtroom is now being done either by video conference or telephonically. I have a court hearing at 3:45 here in a few minutes. Normally we'd be at the courthouse doing it, but this week we're doing it over the phone. And so I think you'll see a change even after the coronavirus is done, where that may be more of a pattern of things that happen, which is a good thing, I think. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we're here, we're working, we're ready to answer any questions that you have. If you have anything regarding employment law or our usual practice areas, car accident law, any type of negligence law, give us a call and we're happy to answer anything that you have. Our phone number is 850-222-7777. And as always, it doesn't cost you anything to call us and ask us any questions you have.
Sure, and they also can direct message you on Facebook too.
Yeah, absolutely. Direct message us, text us, however you like to communicate. So,
perfect.
well, thank you guys for tuning in. And Matt, that was very impressive. Good work.
Thank you. I'll stay safe, and we'll see you next time.